Vice sports reporter covering the Olympics in Rio. He joins us now. Get him up on Twitter at @A_W_Gordon. Aaron, if he had just not told his mom this, are we talking about this story?
I don't know. It's a good question. Probably, I would bet not. I'd bet that it just never develops into anything. But there's always the chance that like the security guards like realize these guys were internationally famous swimmers and releases the videotape, or TMZ somehow gets their whole hands on it anyways. I don't know. Who knows? It's totally ridiculous though, like that we're still talking about this like 4 days later or however long it's been.
Well, here's the thing is here in the United, I always thought this is interesting because here in the United States, this story is a 12 on a scale of 1 to 10. It's leading every newscast. It's everywhere. People are following this. Is it the same way at the Olympics?
Yeah, but for totally different reasons. In Brazil, this story is touching on a lot of like sore spots, some nerves, in especially in Rio, where foreigners, especially white foreigners, all the time treat this town as just like a place to act like idiots and use their privilege to do things that you would get in trouble for in the U.S., or at least are more likely to. The police have always been deferential towards foreign tourists and investigating crimes that they do and stuff. So for people in Rio, this is like, oh, these guys came here and finally we're exposing the way that spoiled Americans or spoiled Europeans behave here. So there's that whole element to the story too.
Tegan paid money, the equivalent of $10,000, to eventually have this thing dropped with him. Is there something that's got to happen with Lochte, whether it's a fine or he's got to come back to Rio?
I don't think so. I mean, I'm not an expert on this stuff, and I haven't been following it as closely as others. But from what I kind of understand, because Lochte is already back in the U.S., and no one's going to create like an international extradition, investigation here. Like Rio's not going to demand he come back to the country to face charges or anything like that. So I think it's more likely that this just kind of gets dropped for Lochte, which is kind of hilarious considering it seems like he was like the ringleader of the group.
What are the other athletes saying about this whole situation?
Like non-swimmers or like
any of the athletes who are weighing in on this, talking about it publicly.
Oh, I mean, it's universal condemnation. Like, I can't believe they act like this. They embarrassed us, stuff like that. And I think like it's honestly gotten a little over the top. Like, people saying like they've embarrassed America, and it's like, well, America does a pretty good job embarrassing itself. We don't need Ryan Lochte's help for that. So I think like there's a little bit of overcorrection in terms of what some people are publicly saying about it.
Aaron Gordon with us from Vice Sports from Rio, covering the Olympics. It's the Rich Eisen Show here on Audience and DirecTV. Jason Smith in for Rich. All right, so tell me this. Outside of the Ryan Lochte saga, what's the most fun thing you've covered so far, the 12, 13 days into the Olympics that we are?
The sport I probably enjoyed watching most in person is probably still table tennis. I think I talked to you like a week or two ago, and I said it was a blast, and it really was. I mean, like the entire crowd was into it, and it was really organic. Like there weren't IOC officials or hosts telling you what to do and to cheer and things like that. Beach volleyball was like a party, like a legit beach party. Everyone was really into it, but it was also incredibly like corporate feeling. Like there was there were like specific chants they instructed you to do after a block, and it was just like kind of lame in that regard. So like and it got annoying after a while, to be honest. Like after going to like 4 or 5 beach volleyball nights, I was just like, I can't stand these chants anymore. So table tennis didn't really have that, so I liked it.
Aaron Gordon, Vice Sports. You can follow him on Twitter at @A_W_Gordon, the king of the underscores. Aaron, as always, appreciate your time. Enjoy the rest of the games. And if something happens with Lochte, we're going to call you back in about 10 minutes.
All right. Sounds good. Thanks, guys.
All right. There goes Aaron Gordon.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on Audience.